22F and Black. I do not support Black Lives Matter as a movement but only as a statement. Is there something wrong with me? As a black woman, I hate Black Lives Matter as a movement, but love it as a simple message. I do not believe funding or time is being spent to actually further the entire black community but only make a very small percentage richer. I am tired of the organization saying their goal is to help black people but will give us half-assed effort when Lord knows we need in-depth reform and assistance. I'm tired of hearing, "Hey guys, just go to college. Pick what sounds fun, and you'll be good," while they should say, "Pick what makes money so your family has a damn chance m'cur." I'm tired of them throwing top $1 festivals while the people who live in these neighborhoods that they throw things in never received any money or good advice on how to move up the social ladder. They keep pushing this image of black excellence, meaning that you spend excessive amounts of money on stuff or degrees one doesn't need, while Lord please tell these people to save every dollar they have for their futures to either invest, start a business, or have some chance at retirement. Why aren't they instilling the importance of homes without fathers as not normal? Why aren't they instilling the importance of family? Why aren't they instilling the importance community values? Education, efficient financial literacy, nutrition, common courtesy. But they will spend all day educating people on the history of black culture as though it's as important as survival and social mobility. Have you seen the size of the homes of the BLM leaders, but their foot solidars are struggling to feed themselves? Excuse me? What a damn shame. That is not charity nor advocacy. And I believe the foundation has begun to lobby for who donates the most, and it was mostly white donors, most likely due to the white population having more access to funds on average. Could this mean that whatever the demographic of majority donors are may be washing the real message of BLM? AKA the leaders of the foundation do whatever the majority says to do. Do BLM? Yes, but this organization does not help black people actually move upwards. Donate to the local Boys and Girls Club or just give money to people. Not at all. I feel the same way. BLM is a career-driven marching enterprise for those who step over the sick, poor and undereducated. They wouldn't touch us IRL. Nothing wrong with you. Sounds like you're a person that thinks for themselves. That's always a good thing. Sounds like you need to start this movement, a better movement. So get ready for a rather long comment because I have a lot to say to this. I agree with you. I do not support Black Lives Matter as an organization, and me personally I do not support it as a movement or a statement. I do not support Black Lives Matter in any capacity as a black man. I'm a black man, and if you asked me what my political views are, I would consider myself conservative. That's not something that I openly share due to the ignorant responses it receives. Conservative people are often misunderstood and stereotyped as white racist people. Because my views have become more conservative and I was able to see how fraudulent BLM was, I stopped supporting them. The main reason is because they only prioritize the lives of black people when they are harmed by police officers but not when harm comes from other black people. If you were to ask the average black American, what is the biggest problem black people face in this country? Their responses would most likely be the system of white supremacy and the police. My response to what is the biggest issue that faces black people in this country? Fatherless homes and a severe lack of accountability. Those responses are often met with ostracized statements such as, "Coon sellout Uncle Tom," but it's the truth. For a black person in America, when one sees everything through the lens of race, they often think that their own progression is limited by systemic racism and a system of white supremacy. I'm here to say that racism is not as conclusive to black success as it has been in the past. We as a people in this country have a severe victimhood mentality, and Black Lives Matter is not helping black people at all but actually hurting them. I in the past have been guilty of having a chip on my shoulder in regards to the suffering of my people, and even sometimes in the present. Since then I have matured in a way that eliminates excuses for self-improvement, and my life turned out for the better. The reason that I do not support Black Lives Matter as a statement is because honestly I feel that as much as we say Black Lives Matter, we don't actually put it to action. To give you some perspective into what I am saying, I am a resident in the Chicago. And you can say that I live in a fairly dangerous area. There are certain pockets within neighborhoods like mine where really good people live, however we are surrounded by some of the scummiest vile pieces of human garbage you will ever meet. And these pieces of garbage shoot and kill each other almost every day. It's depressing and feels like gun violence is the norm here now. You hear gunshots here in this city and it doesn't even startle you or faze you. The same individuals who terrorize our neighborhoods will show up to a protest to protest the police but won't beat their feet to the street for the violence in their own communities or exercise any conflict resolutions that doesn't involve gun violence or any type of violence for that matter. Black lives don't matter to black people unless they die at the hands of a police officer. That is the reality. If black lives matter, then show me that they matter. Stop shooting and killing each other. Try actually working with the police instead demonizing them all because of what one police officer did in Minneapolis. Another fact that I need to add is that police shootings of unarmed black people is something that happens less than 1% nationwide. This so-called movement has people thinking that police are just shooting and killing black people everywhere, and that's simply not true. Black folks are murdering each other in rather large numbers, and it constantly gets swept under the rug. All in all, I think black people need to stop focusing on a race and racism and focus on individual goals and aspirations and move forward. This would probably do well in change my view or unpopular opinion. BLM organizers have banked millions and live in mansions now. It's a career rather than helping the poor. These folks now live in rich white neighborhoods and won't allow bus lines in their areas because it will bring people they pander to and pretend to care about into their neighborhoods. They want more cops for their own areas but want to defund the police where we need it the most. All of this does not mean that systematic racism doesn't exist or there aren't PDs that need to restructure and retrain. Those things are very real. But these causes are hijacked by professionals. Nothing at all wrong. There's a huge difference between BLM the movement and the organization. It's gotten to the point where most of the organization itself is a complete clusterfuck of radical extremists. But the movement of seeking justice for police brutality against blacks, voting to balance the scales of our judicial system to treat everyone equally, and just generally to not judge or hate someone if they're black is extremely important. The best thing I've found you can do is call out racism when you hear it amongst your peers, treat everyone equally, support black-owned businesses, vote for reputable leaders, learn from those who have been oppressed, and enter into informed and open-minded discussions with folks to better understand each other's point of view. I'm black, Canadian and leftist. I was on board with BLM, the organization, until recently. I still support the statement that Black Lives Matter. The organization is a separate entity. Basically, our indigenous people have been treated really badly over the course of history, and there were many apologies, statements, etc. that came out last year, when unmarked mass graves were being found. What does this have to do with BLM? Well, I learned that during slavery times, indigenous people sheltered escaping black people on their reservations, since the white man would never set foot there. They raised black children alongside their own, and were the first allies of black people in Canada. Now, with all the media uproar about these issues, there was notable silence from BLM organizers. Not a damn word from them, which disgusted me. We wouldn't be where we are in this country without the indigenous accepting us, and to this day, they face the same systemic racism as blacks do, if not worse. I thought about it, and in my city anyway, the only time BLM seems to appear is either when a black person gets killed by the cops, which doesn't happen as often as the US, or when it's Pride, and they block the parade to protest the police presence there. I'm not a fan of cops, but isn't closing roads and setting up barricades so that a parade can actually take place, part of their job? It's really confusing. Black people's lives matter, no problem. BLM org equals a completely unrelated set of political beliefs that a huge percentage of black people, and others, disagree with. Black Lives Matter is a doublespeak term designed to define non-supporters automatically as racists even if they're not. It's like the Patriot Act, if you don't support it you obviously hate this country. This is why I give money to the ACLU, and the NAAGA, but that is a different topic to go into. Is the ACLU perfect? Hell no, but do they actually get civil justice stuff done? Hell yes. I also occasionally give to the NAACP, which has had its own series of controversy, but at least has the court victories to justify its existence. You're completely correct, it's a money-making machine for those who are in charge, simple as that. Yes, something is wrong with you. Independent thought alarm is ringing, that was not supposed to happen. I'm black and a non-conservative. There's nothing wrong with you. The BLM org is problematic. It pissed me off when one of the owners spent millions on real estate. Black Lives Matter. The statement gives me life without a doubt. BLM has completely lost its original message and has been hijacked by bad actors. So it's not an issue if you don't support the movement, you can still say BLM. Nah, I feel you. I'm so sick of people telling me how I feel about the movement. Truth is BLM was never for black people. Black woman here, and I also don't support BLM for the same reasons you listed. I'll start by saying I'm not black. I grew up very poor and in what most call the ghetto. It wasn't fun, it wasn't safe, it wasn't good for anyone that lived there. The difference was my family constantly imposed the importance of education, doing what was right, to never settle for the way things are and to fight for every advancement you could make in life. When I was at my friends' houses, I didn't hear anything except how the system was stacked against them and they wouldn't amount to anything. When I was 15, my dad finally had some success and we moved into a nice neighborhood and changed schools. The schools were better funded, but fundamentally the students were much more engaged and trying to succeed in life. They didn't have the predisposition to fail that seemed inherently overwhelming in my previous schools. Are the cards stacked against people of color? Yes, but it doesn't mean you can't succeed with effort through education and hard work. As for BLM, it's a movement. Someone is going to make money. Capitalism always finds a way into everything. BLM shouldn't be a movement. It should be a mindset shared by all. I could go on for hours about the racism I've seen levied against my closest friends in my lifetime, but it wouldn't be anything you haven't heard before. The most important thing we have to do is educate our youth to understand that color is meaningless, and then generationally the change will occur. Most inherently racist people I've ever met are that way because of how they were raised, not because of some atrocity that has happened to them. Time doesn't heal all wounds, but education and thoughtful correction could heal this wound going forward. No, you're actually being a free thinker. Those of us on the right have said the same exact thing. People have a hard time separating the phrase BLM from BLM Inc., where the founder is now a multi-millionaire with numerous homes. I'm a black woman and I agree with you. I am pro-black, not pro-BLM. There's nothing wrong with you. There is something wrong with them. Most people aren't as smart as you.